Stadium, Jamal Charles ran for 1 touchdown and caught passes for 2 others in the Chiefs' 41-14 pummeling of New England.
I mean, you got Alex Smith, you got Justin Houston, Tomba, you have Big Pose. Man, it's a lot of guys. You know what I'm saying? We got a lot of playmakers and we got a lot of Pro Bowlers. So you know what I'm saying? We got the players here to have a championship team. So you know what I'm saying? That's everybody knowing in the locker room. Everybody got to make plays.
Both teams now 2-2. Tonight at Kauffman Stadium will be John Lester for the A's, James Shields for the Royals. In the American League wildcard game, 7:30 Eastern on ESPN Radio. The winner visits the Angels in a division series. An 0-4 start has cost Raiders coach Dennis Allen his job. He was fired late last night. Michigan Athletic Director Dave Brandon at 1 a.m. Eastern Time issued a statement apologizing for the serious lack of communication between the coaching staff and medical personnel, leading to quarterback Shane Mars continuing to play with a concussion last Saturday.
We've got baseball heating up, NFL kicking off, and unlimited NCAA action. With the crunch of California almonds, you'll have lasting energy to keep up. Just 1 handful, about 23 almonds, has 6 grams of protein to help you bring it all day long. Crunch on at almonds.com.
You're listening to the Sports Fix.
Gotta love it. Crunch on at almonds.com. Welcome back to the Sports Fix. J-Rock back with you across the Sports Fix Radio Network. Thank you so much for being with us. We are truly behind the scenes. Fellas, we are flying, and ladies, we are flying by the seat of our pants today, moving segments around, switching things. I'll tell you, I'm just going to take my host hat off for a minute and put my observer/producer hat on. Man, kudos to the job that we've done here moving things around. Of course, Doug Plagens is live as we speak at Lake Erie Monsters camp, trying to clear some time for us. I mean, Doug has so many things on his plate. He'll be with us probably 20 minutes, 25 minutes or so from now. Dr. Football Bill Chachkes, I lost him, then I found him, and I lost him, and I found him. I've got him. He's here. I'm not letting him go. Man, my arms are tired. I just flew all the way back from Arizona. Ha-ha. Did a little Fozzie the Bear action there. Waka waka. Anyways, Dr. Football on the phone lines with us. Going to talk some football, some NFL, and some Browns with him momentarily. Doug Plagens is still to come. Thanks again to Jeff Gorman from Indians101.com for joining us for the last segment. A great conversation as always, guys. You can't call, but you can keep the conversation rolling like I see many of my friends on Facebook and Twitter, and email you guys. Keep it going. Facebook.com/TheSportsFix. Tweet with us at TheSportsFix, CLE, and email us at TheSportsFix@AOL.com. I'm going to the phones. You hear it in the background. That's Motley Crue, Dr. Feelgood. This is Dr. Football Bill Chachkes. He's with us every Tuesday talking some NFL and Browns. Doc Football, how you doing, baby?
A little better, a little late than never at all, right, Jerry?
Oh, no worries about that. It's been a crazy day anyway. I just keep the show rolling until people show up, man. So it's all good, and I'm glad to have you here with us once again.
Well, my apologies to you and to the listeners. It was a rough morning. We have construction going on here, and they started at 7 a.m., and I hit the snooze button and didn't realize I shut the alarm off. So all of a sudden I hear my phone is buzzing, and, of course, Mrs. Dr. Football is nudging me in the ribs. Your phone's ringing, your phone's ringing, your phone's ringing. And I'm like, who could that be? And then I went, oh, boy, it's
That's
Tuesday.
Me going, hey.
So I knew who it was.
Well, I was just worried. I'm like, you're always, bam, right there. So I'm like, man, I actually haven't talked to Bill all week, man. I hope everything's okay, but it's all good, man. It's
we're good. No, thank you. We're good.
It's
a
all
couple
good.
of other things going on, but that's no big deal. The next time I talk to you or message you, I'll fill you in. In the meantime, you want to talk about this blackout lifting rule, which I think is fantastic, but I don't want everybody to get overly excited just yet. Here's the deal. Just because the FCC removed the rules doesn't mean that the NFL is not going to do everything they can to keep those rules in place. And it's going to take a huge outpouring of support for the FCC ruling by sports fans to get this thing really turned over on its side. Because I'll give you, here's a perfect example. As you know, I have DirecTV. Can't live without it, especially if you're in the business. Okay, sit down in front of the TV, not this weekend, but 2 weekends ago. Sit down in front of the TV, trying to find the game that I wanted. Obviously, I knew when Cleveland was going to be on. Had Cleveland in one box. You could, with DirecTV, you could have 2, 4, or 8 screens. I usually start with the 8, and I recycle which 4 I want to keep. And as they end, I go down to 2. Okay, I get my 2 games on. I get the Browns game on, and then I'm looking around to get the Giants game on the other grid. And guess what? Blacked out locally because they're playing the Texans, and it's CBS's national early game. So what do I got to do? I got to go to my CBS affiliate here instead of getting it on DirecTV.
Right.
So that's got to be improved, and that's really what the blackout lifting of the blackout rule is trying to do. The league is trying to appeal to fans, with their own page on their website about this, saying that the old rule has worked fine for just decades.
Nah.
I disagree. Because I can tell you in the 1970s when a Giant game was blacked out, my father and I had to get into the car and drive to Darien, Connecticut, just over the border from Westchester, New York, to watch the Giant game in a motel on TV.
Yeah, I mean, look, this has nothing to do with protecting TV partners or contracts or anything like that. Plain and simple, this is the mechanism that the NFL has had in place since the beginning of their relationship with TV to guarantee that every single ticket gets sold and gets swept up in these local markets to squeeze every last penny out because they don't want people watching for free on TV. I mean, now I've got several qualms with that. You brought up the website. They've got that Protect Free Football campaign that the NFL has been doing. And really, it's a bunch of mumbo-jumbo that they're running by people. What they've basically done for the last few weeks here is made the not-so-veiled threat to just remove games from broadcast TV completely and only have them on cable, satellite, and paid outlets, which the NFL, listen, if Joe Smith wants to believe that the NFL is going to do that, you're nuts. Never would the NFL remove themselves from broadcast television because it's not Sunday Ticket, it's not Sunday night or Monday Night Football on ESPN. That's not what drives this league. It's Joe and Jane Smith being able to tune in whatever random game is on television and watch it that week. Like, all you would do is just completely and really at this time too, with all the pressure that's on the NFL and all the people that are already snubbing their nose at the way things are going in the NFL, to just add that to it, it's just a trip, man, because really everybody knows what the entire 100% reason behind that. I remember one of the many things that led to the relationship between Art Modell and the Browns fans going sour in the 80s that all built up to him leaving town was when he sued the bars in Cleveland on behalf of him and the NFL for carrying the Browns games, because they would have the satellite dish and they would, go watch the Browns game at the bar. Every bar in Cleveland had it. And that's when they sued them all to make the settlement where people had to, spend a certain amount and you had to, anyways, the whole thing that it turned into. But, again, that was seen as, being all about the bottom line and the dollar. But here, to me, more than any of that, here's my biggest problem with it, is that you could get away with that 40 years ago when owners like Art Modell built their own stadiums and ran their own show. But how in the world are you going to have publicly funded stadiums around this country that have been like the Browns? City of Cleveland owns that bad boy. I mean, it's been paid for. It gets maintained. Cavaliers are getting a new scoreboard put up, paid for by the fans of Cleveland. You can't do that. To me, television broadcast to that. I mean, okay, you want to keep it on cable, that's fine. I can't force you to keep it on broadcast TV. But I mean, you got a whole lot more sticking points now when you realize that the public has funded and or helped fund most of these stadiums around the country.
Yeah, not only that, You know, people have to realize that you have NFL teams, like you said, in the 50s and 60s and 70s, when it was all private money or mostly private money. Blackouts were the rule of the day because cable systems were not deeply entrenched. Satellite TV was something for the rich, and games were just carried on network TV. And if you were in a region where you didn't want to watch the game, you were not a fan of that team, you were stuck unless you were able to go to the local watering hole, you know, where they were the ones that had the satellite at the time, and that was it.
Right.
Now, with the advent of DirecTV being in, many, many millions of households, it's not what it was even 15 years ago. And I think it's very important for the viewing public that watches NFL football to realize that the league has this monopoly that they're trying to hold on to. Now, let's face it, we love the game, or else we wouldn't be sitting here talking about it. But by the same token, the league has money hand over fist. They don't need any more TV money, and they don't need to restrict people from watching games. And like you said, they're never going to leave network TV for three reasons. Number one, there's just too much money to walk away from. Number two, the owners would throw, especially the owners that have bad teams that can't get out of the basement, like Jacksonville, would throw a fit because they would lose that money, okay? They would lose that money that they depended on to help make their payroll and their organizational funding that they need. Without that TV network money, without Jacksonville getting money from the NFL TV deal, they would have to go out of business because let's face it, what they've got going on in Jacksonville is a terrible shame that they can't even get out of the basement.
Absolutely. No, I agree with you there. Here's the other thing, too, and this is where people need to step out of the old economics of the NFL and step into the new. The revenue streams have changed for the entire sport. And you know what? Football is not the only one. Baseball and basketball are becoming this way, too. With each television contract renewal, things have changed. Used to be that this game was driven by your live event revenue first and foremost, and the number of asses that you put in the seats and the number of jerseys that you sold and the number of hot dogs that they bought. That was your bottom line every week. You had 8 home games a year to make them, to draw 1 million fans or whatever your goal was, whatever it was. I don't know, whatever it was. But point being is live event, asses in the seats, actual attendance was where your money primarily came from. Nowadays, you have 90, really everything is look at the money. We're talking billions. That your money now comes from TV. That is what you are. You are now a television product more than a live event experience, more than anything else. When you derive that much of your income from television becomes the master that you serve. So at that point, too, it opens up a whole nother strain there that live attendance. And this is why I'm a little surprised with the NFL fighting it so much. But the reason they're fighting it is because they're looking at baseball and they're seeing what's happening with other sports where people, even if it's only 5,000 people in every NFL city, that says, hey, man, I'd rather sit on my couch and watch my beautiful big color television and listen to my surround sound and not have to go downtown and deal with all that traffic. But the reason, that they have to up until the tickets are sold out is so that the game can be on TV. I mean, that's kind of I don't want to use the word extortion, but that's really a hammer to hold over the head to get that last few tickets sold, whereas now that that's out of the way, you'll still sell most of your tickets, but now maybe that 5 or 10,000, much like the Indians, much like baseball's going through, decide they'd rather sit at home. But at the same time, I think that's coming anyway. It's a natural cause and effect that comes when the majority of your revenue is now derived from television contracts. You are, first and foremost, a television product now, more than anything else.
Yeah, no question about it. And what people don't realize is that, you have teams that when they are 1,500 seats away from selling out, They want to, they want to keep that blackout